Waste Committee to order. Dakota, if you would, please give us a prayer.
Yep. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here today to conduct county business. Thank you for putting us in the positions to do your work. Lord, let us do things that will benefit the community, which will benefit the kingdom. God, thank you for everything that you do in our lives. Bless us always. We are so thankful for your Son who died on the cross for the remission of our sins. And Lord, we look to you in all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, roll call.
Dakota White,
Here.
TK Austin,
Here.
Becky Golden, Jordan Coke, Chris Burrington,
Here.
Roger Mason,
Here.
Larry Daniels.
Here.
Do you have a quorum, Mr. Chairman?
Okay. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the June 2nd Solid Waste Committee meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, is there any old business?
Yeah, I've got something real quick.
Okay.
We talked, and I don't know, without talking to Waste Management, what the long-term plan is, but we've talked about, we've got that convenience center down there at the landfill, and at some point that's gonna go away. And it puts a big gap between, there's a big gap between Cassville and Dole. And so there might be potential for a couple places down there close to locate a convenience center. The reason I brought it up is I don't mind investigating and looking into that a little bit and
Okay.
reporting back next month if that's something that you guys would be interested in. I think we need to start making plans at some point. We're going to have one somewhere. And with the landfill being in, it's Derrick and I's district, I don't mind looking into that and seeing if we can come up with something.
That sounds good.
If you'll put that on the
Put
agenda
that on
next
the
month.
agenda for the next meeting.
Thank you, Roger.
Okay, any more old business?
Is there any updates on the landfill, getting the sale open?
They're waiting on the state. Well, they've actually got the permit. They're waiting for a public hearing, which I don't know when that'll be, but it'll be put in the newspaper. But right now we're looking probably somewhere toward the end of this month. We should have they should have a permit.
And then they still got to build it.
And then you got a year's worth of building,
Dirt work.
dirt work, whatnot.
And it looks like they've hauled 1 million tons of rock, and they're like preparing. They've done a lot of prep work, getting ready for it. Look like.
Well, they're sure enough everything's going that they've already started preliminary stuff. Okay, any more new business? Hearing none, Monday, July 21st at 6 p.m. will be our next full court, and August 4th will be our next solid waste meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with Committee A. Roll call, please.
Kane Rogers, TK Austin,
Here.
Becky Golden, Lanny Selby, Thomas Markison,
Here.
Derek Hutchings,
Here.
Larry Daniels. Do have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the June 2nd Steering Committee A meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, is there any old business? Any new business? Okay, our calendar update, July 21st at 6 p.m. will be our next full court. And August 4th, following solid waste, will be our next steering committee A meeting. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.
Committee B to order. Roll call, please.
Chris Brington.
Here.
David Cranford.
Here.
Robert McCormick. Dakota White.
Here.
Jordan Koch. Roger Mason.
Here.
Kyle Goff.
We have 4, so we do have.
Do you have a quorum, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the report from June the 2nd, for Steering Committee B. I entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve that, sir.
Second.
So a motion by Commissioner White, a second by Commissioner Cranford. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right. Next item on the agenda is old business. Is there any old business to come before Steering Committee B? I guess the only thing I could think of was the storage that we talked about a few times, and the budget committee approved that, and I believe that's in motion, with that building that we required for that down there. So that was the only thing that I had thought of that might need an update on. No roadblocks, Commissioner Hutchins, that we know of, right?
I'm sorry?
No roadblocks with that process that we know of?
No, sir, I've worked with Chad. He has got everything he needs. We haven't purchased it yet, but we're just right there. I've been in contact with the company, and everything's moving along at governmental pace.
All right. Is there any new business? Steering Committee B. Hearing none, calendar updates. Monday, July 21st at 6 o'clock will be a full court meeting, and then the next Steering Committee B meeting will be August the 4th, 2025, following Steering Committee A. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.
All right, we'll call the purchasing committee meeting to order. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 22nd, 2025 meeting. They've been presented to you. I'll entertain a motion to it.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, properly second. Any questions, discussions, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is the review of the procurement process for the county for the Quebec-Walling Utility District water lines. Mr. Markin?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. We received 7 bids for project number 1 for Quebec-Walling Utility Districts. This is part of the ARP projects that we're working on with them. This is for the McMinnville Highway water line. The low bid was from Passon's Underground Utilities and Excavation LLC at $805,950. We reviewed all bids and are recommending awarding to Passon's for that. And there is a letter from the project engineer stating the same.
All right, you've heard the explanation of the first purchasing agreement. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion, probably second. Any questions, discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Mr. Martin?
Thank you, sir. The second project for Quebec Walling Utility District was the water tank rehabilitation and pump station in Lost Creek. We received 2 bids on this project. The low bid was from Noah C. Roberts Contracting, and we are recommending awarding to Noah C. Roberts Contracting in the price of $397,872. And there is a project engineer letter recommending that award as well.
All right, here in the explanation, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion, probably second. Any question, discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is approved. Next is the bids for the highway department. And Mr. Mark, I'll let you go all through 3 of them if you don't mind.
Sure. The first bid is our rock bid, so this is a bid for crushed stone. We received 2 bids, one from Rogers Group Incorporated and one from IMI of Middle Tennessee. Overall, with the exception of one of the products that we bid, IMI was the low bidder on that. They currently hold our current contract. The way that we do the crushed stone bid is we have a primary bidder, and so we'd recommend the award to IMI Middle Tennessee as the primary bidder and then Rogers Group as a alternate or secondary bidder. The reason we do that is in the event that IMI is unable to supply one of the rocks that we need at that moment, then we can go to Rogers Group and get that as well under the bid price that they submitted. So that is our recommendation for the crushed stone bid. Bid number 2 for the highway department is the asphalt bid. We received 1 bid for asphalt. That's from Rogers Group Incorporated. You can see the prices there for all the different mixes. We do bid it delivered and placed and then also picked up, and so that's the difference that you see there. We recommend award to Rogers Group for the asphalt. They've been our asphalt vendor for several years now. And then finally, we received a bid for roadway marking from Volunteer Highway Supply Company Incorporated at 10 cents per linear foot. If memory serves me correctly, that's the price that we currently have them under contract with, and so we'd recommend awarding that contract to Volunteer Highway Supply for roadway marking.
All right, here in the explanation, I would entertain a motion to approve all 3, or if one
Make
of
a
the...
motion to approve all 3 as well.
I'll second.
I have a motion, probably second. Any questions or discussions?
On the Rogers Group secondary bid, so it would be at their listed price, so they couldn't have a price increase throughout the year. They would have to honor the price. Is that correct, Chad? Is that how I understood that?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion is approved. Just for the public, FYI, what this purchase committee does is not approve any spending or allocate any funding. This is to make sure that the proper process was followed when obtaining bids and spending money that's already been allocated or is to be allocated. This committee doesn't have the right to kill a purchase, just to make sure that the process was followed correctly. Any old business come before the purchasing committee? Hearing none. Any new business? Hearing none. Would anybody from the public like to address the purchasing committee about a purchasing process? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We stand adjourned.
We'll call the Budget Committee meeting to order. Mr. Markham, I think we can show in the minutes that all members of the committee are present. And we will move on to approval of the minutes from the June 24th meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. We move on to fiscal year 2026 budget. Mr. Markham, would you go over those two amendments out of the school federal projects fund?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is the School Federal Projects Fund, and if you recall from prior years, these are approved separately from the regular budget. School Federal Project Fund budgets are approved by the school board and also by the Tennessee Department of Education. And so before you tonight, we have two School Federal Projects Fund budgets that are both for the Career Technical Education, Carl Perkins. The first one is Subfund 801, Career Technical Education Carl Perkins Basic Grant, in the amount of $86,852.44. And the second budget amendment the second budget we have for you is the Carl Perkins Reserve Grant. It's Subfund 802, and it is a $50,000 grant. These are both federal grants passed through the state of Tennessee to the White County school system. They will go before the school board on Thursday night of this week. And so I ask that any action you take be contingent on school board approval. They have been approved by the Tennessee Department of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Markham. We would open the floor to approve those two together, contingent upon school board approval, unless you want to pull one out and vote separately.
Motion.
Have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, amendments are approved. All right, so our continued discussion on fiscal year 2026 budget. Mr. Markham, has the rest of the commission had a copy of this?
I emailed that out to the budget committee, and I haven't distributed it otherwise.
Okay. You don't have any extra copies?
I've got one extra copy, and I can go make more if you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
You guys want to circulate that? So where we left off last week was Mr. Markham was going to put together some numbers for us to see an 8% raise for all general fund employees, the rate that it carries them to, and then also comparing this to a flat rate of a $4,000 yearly base increase as well. We did email this out, and we've got a hard copy here to look at. If you guys had a chance to review, we entertained some conversation.
What's the penny on the 4,000?
It's roughly about a 1 penny more, so it's closer to the 9 pennies, whereas the 8% is closer to the 8 pennies. So, I mean, that's the difference. It's about a penny, give or take.
I don't know, I was noticing, with 4,000, there was some of them.
So,
Well, I mean, it's like,
yeah.
the pay scale gets,
So at about $50,000 is where the break is. So once you hit $50,000, the 8% is more beneficial than the 4,000 across the board. Anything below that, the 4,000 is more beneficial than the 8% across the board. So somewhere right in the $50,000 mark is your breaking point there. That's where you see that change.
Chad, in both the 8% and the $4,000, there's specialty line items for targeted positions, and those targeted increases are included in the, what you're projecting, right? It's,
Yes, that's correct. So like on the 8%, your convenience center workers, the 8% just gets them to 951, and we had them at a 1050 base across the board. So there would be that increase there. But the 4,000 gets them actually to a 1215 rate instead of the 1050. So like I said, those adjusted base amounts there that you see, the ones that are adjusted are included. Yes, sir.
So if we're talking about emergency services, the 4,000 actually hurts the paramedics and the critical care paramedics. Just slightly, 45, is that right, $45? And
As compared to the percentage raise.
Yes.
I mean, it's overall an increase. but-
Yes. It does benefit the EMT basic and EMT advanced. I think for a patrol deputy, the flat rate is about $350 more of an increase than the 8%.
And I will note, and I don't recall us having conversation about this, but I just do want to point it out that whenever I did the 4,000, it was indiscriminate of full-time or part-time status. So that's how this was calculated, just like the 8% raise would have been.
I've noticed on here, we have the library is targeted above 8% and above 4,000. Are those numbers off that much, Chad? That is a necessity to get there? Because at the dollar, I mean, it's $8,000 raise instead of a 4,000. I think they're pretty close to that.
So as we discussed when Director Farley was here presenting the budget, I guess back in April, there had been leakage within the county from her department due to that dereliction on our part of appropriating those salaries appropriately for the type of services and qualifications that are needed for those. And so those are bringing those up to more standardized rates, as is several of the other targeted adjustments made there.
So about 26 employees that benefit more off the percentage increase than the flat rate.
So 174 then benefit.
Benefit from the flat rate. I mean, the pressure point for me would be the EMS.
We've consistently heard that emergency services need to have our focus, and both of these, I'm not gonna say they do not address the problem, but we're still giving across the board. And my opinion is we need to differentiate between emergency services and the rest of the county general. I know there's not that many employees. I know it's not going to make a huge difference, but that's what we've consistently heard. The whole budget process is we have to take care of emergency services, and ideally we would do, in my opinion, ideally it would be $1.57 and give the other raises, but we can't talk about that. So either we're going to have to do, my opinion, we either have to do more than $4,000 to emergency services, or we need to reduce the other. If we give more to emergency services without reducing the other, then that's bringing our penny back up. So I don't know that anybody will be on board for higher than we're already struggling to maybe even get $1.44 range passed. I like the dollar amount. Now that I've looked at it, I like that scenario versus a percentage.
Yeah, I agree. I like the dollar amount better. And I disagree with, in my opinion, on dividing them up. The county emergency services can't operate without the people in the offices. They can't, if central maintenance ain't there to fix their vehicles, they can't go. If Jerry's people's not there to fix the roads, they can't get there. If Chad's people are not there to write the checks, they're not gonna be here to work. I don't see us distinguishing. I really feel like everybody's job is essential. My opinion.
Well, I know we discussed in the previous meeting, there's a $210,000 ambulance remount in there. I don't know, we can consider taking it out. That would be 2 pennies.
But we don't need to get into that because we're gonna end up falling behind again.
I mean, we need to, it's taken 3 years to get it done,
Well, we originally started with 2 remounts and a new one. We purchased a new one and a remount out of last year's budget, so it left 1. In Denny Wayne's proposal at $1.44, it's putting 2 instead of 1.
But if we just put 1 in, is that not gonna make us, 3 years down the road, we're not gonna have 2 ambulances, we're gonna have 1 ambulance coming?
Aren't we increasing an ambulance also? So putting another ambulance in service, so remount is probably something we really need to consider. You just can't do 1 a year like that.
No, we can't continuously do 1 a year.
How many did we do last year? In the original budget, how many did we have in the original budget from the beginning of the year?
The last 2 years, I'm sorry, the last 2 times we've purchased them, I think it's been a year over 20, I've been able to get CDBG grants to cover most of them. So we've had them in the budget, but there wasn't per se coming out of tax pennies. And we'll continue to try to do that in the future. It just gets more competitive every year.
But I mean, I get it, it's just like the patrol cars, you have to buy 3 a year to stay on pace. We budgeted at the beginning of the year we got a grant for it, but how many did we get? At the beginning of the year, at budget process time last year, how many did we buy? How much did we allot?
Derek, are you in here?
Yeah.
I don't think we actually got a new one this year. Nothing came in.
It's the two that we have ordered, the new ones that you're talking about, they were ordered in 2022, and we will not receive them until somewhere between September and December of this year. We have not received the new ambulance.
No, I get that, but we allocate, we've been allocating every year. We allocate in 22, we're getting them in 25 or whatever the number is, but my question is, how many did we allocate at the beginning of the budget?
We had one remount in the budget, in the original budget for 25.
I just want to add, the 3 years, those are new ambulance vehicles, okay? Those are brand new from the factory that comes out of Ohio. The remounts are somewhere around, they take somewhere around 18 to 19 months for a remount. So it's a little shorter time, but then again, like we've got the 2 that are approved, and when did we get approval on them, Chad? It's been close to 6 months ago, and we still haven't been able to take them. But when that ambulance goes, when they send us, we're looking 18 months past that to we get one, if that makes sense.
It does.
So we're like, whenever we send out a remount, we're 18 months before we get
A replacement.
that ambulance
No,
back.
I get that. I don't know.
You're trying to keep up with the budgeting of it, how many we're actually purchasing per year, not what we made them.
Yeah, I mean, we have to allocate every year for them. And we started the year out and we were told we need 1 new ambulance and 2 remounts is what we started the budget process with. If we needed 3 remounts, I feel like we should have started the conversation with 3 instead of 2. Maybe that's where I'm confused at. I'm not trying to take away from them, it's just, we found it in the budget for last year to get a new one and a used one, and it left 1 on the table, and now we're looking at 2. I'm trying to come up with a way to, I'm not trying to take away.
21 was the last year we received a new ambulance. 2021. That's 525, that's the used one we got, this is 2021.
But your question is, how many do we need to budget each year to make it work?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I thought my answer was that was 2, that's why I put it in my original proposal.
You're pulling out of left pocket, putting it in the right, in my opinion, because 2 weeks ago, we allocated money from last year's budget for a new ambulance. It was technically for this, or a remount. Technically, it's for this budget cycle. We just paid for it the last budget cycle, is all I'm trying to get at.
You know, a lot of times at the end of the year, we have somebody left over like that, and if we can do that, like you suggested, like 2 months ago, I don't know, a lot of these meetings get confusing. We try to do it to keep it from being such a burden on the next budget.
But if we just entertain where you were going, that frees up a little over 2 pennies that you were going to put toward
I mean, I still think,
emergencies.
I would still like to see a full-time EMA director in the $50,000 for the fire services. And I still don't, I like the $4,000. I think there needs to be some other things pulled out and tweaked in there, some additional cuts in some places a little bit and extra in others maybe, but it's,
50,000 for fire, the additional 50,000 was included
no.
in your latest 144 rendition.
I tell you, I'll have to go back and look. I can't, I
think
think it
it
was,
was.
but it was, yeah.
It
okay.
was, okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Markham, on the EMA, like the full-time, when it was considered or earlier, how did we arrive at the pay scale for that position?
That was based on that original pay scale that we did and tried to get all of our directors in a specific range. And so that's where that come from. I've not re-looked at it since we
Changed all that?
changed that out, yeah.
I don't think it's good, and I'm not, I mean, this is a $70 million budget. We're fussing over a couple $100,000.
That's what we've been fussing over the whole
Yeah,
time.
I know it the whole time.
The whole time.
You know, and the EMA director, that's 50,000. I mean, the commission's job is to pass a budget. That's the only thing that is required of the county commission by the state of Tennessee. There's a lot of things y'all can do, and are allowed to do, but you're only required to pass a budget. And we're hanging up on, I feel like we're hanging up on minuscule amounts of money. You know,
I can't argue that.
50,000 here, you know, 200,000 there, we're, you know, we're pushing a $70 million budget. And I also feel like, and I commend y'all for this, this is not a negative statement, but y'all are trying to fix a problem with the pay raises. You're not gonna fix it. At the most, you may get 2 years out of this. But odds are, you're gonna be sitting here fighting the same battle next year. You may get 2 years if we end up doing more than what the surrounding counties do. That'll get you by to the next year's budget. But then they'll come back and they'll correct, and then we'll be right back. So I appreciate the commitment in trying to do this, but you're not going to fix it this year. It's not going to be a permanent fix, even if you went with the pay scale. It's still not a permanent fix. This is a revolving door where smaller counties lose their employees to us, we lose our employees to the Putnam counties and Cumberland counties, they lose theirs to the Murfreesboros and the Lebanons, and they lose theirs to the Nashvilles and Knoxvilles. It's a never-ending cycle. And I'm forgiving them all that we can, but I don't want y'all to think that we're fixing this, that this is something that's, when we do this, it's done.
No, you're right, it's gonna be a cycle, but there's years where they didn't get any raise, or a very small percentage, and it set us behind. And I understand it's gonna change, but we do need to take care of them, because there's been a lot of employees that just went way behind, and the
Yeah, I
market value
don't
is
disagree with
instant.
that at all.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
I think we wear that crown.
But that goes with the pay. We're never going to compete with Putnam County, we're never going to compete with whoever. But if we just say, well, we can't compete with them, so let's give them 50 cents an hour raise and go on about our business. Well, then the next year, instead of, those places are still going to give raises the next year too, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So we're never going to beat them, we're never going to outrun them, and we're never going to catch up to them, but
Got to keep pace.
we got to keep pace.
Exactly right.
and we've not been keeping pace.
And I will say too, you know, the 4,000 across the board, I feel like helps them, like Kyle said, helps the majority of the employees, more so than a 8% raise. That being said, that's not as much as we would have intentionally liked to have given them, but that is about a $2 an hour raise, roughly.
What is this looking at as your certified tax rate?
We left off the last meeting at 144.
And this
I
would
do
be
think-
about a penny higher, you said?
Yes.
About 145?
I feel like we could probably carve that enough to still get that 4,000 across the board and at $1.44. I feel like that way, but at the most $1.45. I feel like that. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we could work some things around. Probably.
Does this still include longevity pay?
It is.
You were not in favor of pulling out any emergency services or just a targeted? You just meant all emergency services, right?
Pulling out.
Yeah, like targeting them specifically, you just meant, what I'm getting at is if we do 4,000 across the board, just the critical care paramedics and paramedics.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You just meant not target the entire group of 125.
Yes.
You would be okay with pulling out a small segment and evaluating, just like we have with librarians, for example.
Okay, well, with the 4,000 you have presented here for you, you still have, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16. Oh geez, that's too many to count. You're still looking at, what's that, 30? I'd say you're still looking at somewhere between 35 and 40 targeted salaries that would be above the 4,000. The vast majority of them being your non-part-time, part-time drops a lot for that 4,000. But you're still hitting some there's some sergeants in the jail. You're hitting, your judicial commissioners. Deputies should be in here somewhere. I don't know where they're at, but some of your deputies are still.
15 to 26 full-time.
I'm sorry, what?
15 of the 26 full-time positions are emergency service.
Okay, 15 of the 26 that are targeted are still additional above the 4,000 to emergency services. I'm trying to mend the best of both worlds here. It's been mentioned that we haven't kept up with surrounding counties. That didn't happen in 1 year. A lot of people, even commissioners, said that they don't want to hit the adjustments in 1 year. So my $1.44 was an average of what everybody asked for. And then we're able to do this 4,000 across the board with the targeted rates for some that we still think are even more so underpaid than the 4,000 would get them to. But it's a lot of information, it's a lot of numbers. Chad did a great job at this, putting this together. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you definitely I can do that. We can do this at $1.44. I wouldn't suggest anybody making a motion to send that to full court or anything like that. But it's definitely, the big dollar amount in this budget is salaries. You know, like I mentioned earlier, we can go through and all these little positions and stuff, 50,000 here, 50,000 there. Your money's in the salaries. If we can agree upon an amount for raises, then we can start figuring where, that's the big number that's going to affect the tax rate.
Is this removing the tier system?
This is removing, oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
We make any adjustments to longevity pay? We haven't talked about that tonight. I mean, if we're making adjustments, do we scale that back to half of what proposed and then look at it again next year maybe?
Yeah, I think in year 144, it was just as it was before, right, $100 starting in year 5.
So if we cut that in half, that'd be what, 3/4 of a penny or something? Was 150
It's 189 total, correct,
with
Chad?
benefits?
I think that's a total.
I think that's across the,
We had 154 at
across the, all the funds. We just look at the general fund. It's 130,000 at $100 on just the general fund.
Change gears, we'll talk about this, I'll talk about something else. Do we consider it or leave it as is? I mean,
Yeah,
It's just such a-
longevity.
yeah.
Well,
It's a minuscule amount.
the thing about the longevity is that was put here to help with retention. I mean, I hate to say, is that, do you not think that's gonna be an issue with this raise, or, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just trying to figure
Well,
out.
everything that we've done, the whole year has been for retention. And I'm not saying that one thing is any less than the other, but we couldn't get $1.57 to pass, now we're at $1.44, maybe $1.45. Do we even know if that's gonna pass? And
No.
everything is paid. I'm not trying to take anything away, but we have to have something that'll pass budget, or it'll pass budget and committee. And
Yeah.
in full court, I'm trying to give suggestions and options, and if this is it.
No, 145.
Director Markham, do you know
You have anything?
the penny on the highway department at this $4,000 and targeted for the highway department? Do you know what that number is?
You mean like the difference?
Well, we've been back and forth 2 to 3 to 4 pennies for the highway department. And then we talked, now we've got this $4,000 proposal and 8%. We have targeted for the highway department. What's that number? How many pennies does raises have to be? The raises that are in the $4,000, what is that dollar wise, penny wise for the highway department? That's what I'm asking.
I got you.
Because we've been talking about paving money for the highway department, and I'm trying to see what's there.
I get about a penny.
Yeah, it's about a penny, and we were projecting, and that's without the calculating longevity, but we were projecting 2 pennies for the highway department in the $1.44.
Okay, so at a $4,000 for the highway department.
Paying though, right? That 2 pennies is separate.
No, it would be 2 pennies total for the highway department.
Oh,
And so it'd be about a little bit over a penny
So
for the
payroll's
pay
part of
raise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so a penny in raises and a penny in paving. Okay.
I'm sure you said this in your question. Was that at 8%? Is that what?
At 4,000.
At 4,000, okay.
At 4,000.
Okay.
I kind of meant for both, but at 4,000. I'm personally leaning towards the flat rate versus the percentage.
I'm more of the flat rate from what I've seen. It's gonna do more for the employees.
Yeah.
It messes up some of the spread, but
Well, like I mentioned last
It is.
meeting, it's not something that we need to do every time, but it needs to be a balance back and forth between a flat raise and a percentage.
flat rate gets more for more employees.
Do the other commissioners in attendance not on the budget committee have an opinion? Budget, or I'm sorry, flat raise versus percentage raise?
I like the flat rate better.
Flat rate.
Flat.
Flat.
For where we're at, I think I still lean toward that at some point, whether we get somebody to come and do a study or something and get job classifications and level so that people know what to expect from year to year. I think that needs to be our long-term goal. But as far as, like Benny Wayne said, I don't think that this is like the end-all, be-all to solve all of our problems. But if this is where we're at, I'll lean toward the flat rate. It looks like it helps, especially the lower side of the salary scale more. And then when y'all were talking a minute ago about the longevity, they had some conversations today. We're still, I know the sheriff's department and EMS are still running with open spots. And we added positions in this budget, but we can't fill the positions that we've got. And so I think protecting that longevity is critical to helping retention. Again, I don't think it's the end-all be-all, but I think it's a good step in that direction where people have something to look forward to from year to year versus anticipating whether or not we're going to pass a budget with a raise in it.
As far as the flat rate goes, I think we all agree on something for the first time in a long time. Thank you. Any other thoughts from the other commissioners on the longevity, since Commissioner Mason gave his thoughts. Any other
I think
thoughts on protecting it or shifting that money elsewhere?
I protect it. I think keeping the longevity would be great, just for the sheer fact of, like we talked about last meeting, $4,000 is very fair. You know, from one employee to the next, 4,000 is fair. Everybody's life improves the same dollar amount. Well, if you get $4,000 and you've worked here for 15 years, you're actually getting $5,500 if we incorporate longevity and the raise this year. So I think it drastically will help the guys, because it's going to start at 5 years. I think it's going to drastically improve and invest in employees' lives to enact that and to keep it, and I think we should keep it the 100 and the 50.
Thank you. Any others?
And if you can do it at 144, that's even better.
With this type of structure, Chad, is there any maintenance of effort on that?
The
Positions.
Well, the longevity.
For no, because it would be tied to the service of the position. So it's the number of positions provided for the sheriff's department that's funded, the number of positions funded for the sheriff's department. As far as for the maintenance of effort on the election commission, I don't think that would make a difference because that's just during presidential election cycles. During, let's see, for the maintenance of effort for the library, it could have, we just have to fund the same amount year to year on that, so I don't see that being an issue with the limited number of employees that they have there. Maintenance of effort for the county executive's office is non-payroll related. I don't foresee it being an issue. The property assessor's office, that maintenance of effort wouldn't be an issue, I don't feel like, so I don't think it would be, Mr. Chairman.
The worst case scenario on that would be you stop the program. If a commission in the future wanted to stop the program, you would, worst case scenario, you'd be locked in at where you're at. You would continue to raise that $100 per year.
Chad, do you know how that's affected if you start sooner than year 5? Do you know what that number would be if it was at year 3? Or?
I like year 3.
Give me just a second here.
I worked for the state for 11 years and I started getting it at year 3.
I think 5's too, I don't disagree with that. I think 5's too long. 3 would be better.
And, you know, as far as our, TCRS retirement, you're not automatically vested in that, so there's a waiting period on that, and I think that's four or 5 years. Yeah, 4 years on that, so that you're.
No, it was 5, you're right,
Is it
I'm sorry,
five?
it is
Okay.
5.
That you're not vested in the employer contributions. Obviously, you're automatically vested in your contributions, but, let's see.
I don't want to overcomplicate things, but I would like to be retroactive. It'd start at year 3, but you get paid for year 1 and year 2 and year 3, like a
Make it 300.
signing,
Well,
like a signing bonus.
You would. You get $300 at year 3 or $500 at year 5, yeah.
No, what I mean is,
You get 600.
you get 600 at year 3.
Oh, yeah, 3. 600, be 600.
Big 6. Yeah,
if you're vested, if you stay for 3 years, you get your retroactive, like it's a, what does the state do, a signing bonus, but you have to work so long to get the signing bonus, it's almost like that. If you, at year 3, it would be 600, at year 4, it would be 400.
Oh,
You're,
I see what that is complicated.
Yeah.
I see.
That'd be a,
I get that, but that is complicated.
Our new hires are getting 8,000 by the state after 3 years.
Took care of that.
what's that?
The state's recruitment and retention grant, I could hire you right now and get $8,000 for 3 years.
There's your bonus.
So how's this gonna affect for longevity for the ones that we either hire tomorrow, and see when it's actually applying, or the ones that are here that are on it, that are already getting 8,000 or 10,000 from the state, they're already certified, come from another state, you get 10,000. You get it in year 1, 2, and 3, and if you're already certified, you get it a 6-month, 1, 2, and 3, totally 10,000.
I don't want to speak for everybody, but I don't think it would affect what we pay. I think we would pay in addition to that.
But with the county saving money, being that you're kind of offsetting the longevity, so really with the numbers you're looking at, it's not 100% county funded, it's state and some county funded.
Well, that's just your department, though.
yeah, we gotta,
For
Yeah.
ours, yes, I mean, I know EMS doesn't have it, library don't have it,
no, we got.
but the county is saving money in the longevity for our guys that are here, that are on it. We're not, they've been here 18 years, we don't get it. But I hire you off the street, you do get it.
Right.
I don't have the data right now to make that calculation, Mr. Chairman. I mean, I would think that it wouldn't be that dramatic, but I certainly could get that.
Do we want to see those numbers or leave it
No, I
at,
think,
leave it at 5?
I'd like to, I think we could probably fit it in without too much. I mean, I'd like the idea of 3 myself, but I don't know if we need to assume that we can put it in with something or make it work, but I think that's ideal.
Is there a cap on the current proposed longevity?
So,
Would it,
well, Mr. Chairman, just so you know, so if we did it at year 0, it would be about $34,000 more versus at year 5. So I know that doesn't get you to year 3, but
Yeah.
that's the difference between doing it automatically a year,
34,000?
after a year, yeah. And under this current proposal, there's not a cap. I mean, we've not discussed that,
So
but
that
we
would
could,
be-
that's
yeah,
obviously an option.
it may be splitting the weeds just a little bit much, but like, I can only base it off the state, and they have a 30-year cap. So at 30 years, you get 3,000, at 31 years, you get 3,000, at 45 years, you get 3,000. I wonder if that would offset, bring it back to 3 years to capping it at 30. I don't know what that looks like, but I just know where I came from, the prison, it was a 30-year cap. I know we have some very tenured employees, but I don't know how many
I don't know how many we have over 30.
have over 30. I thought I saw Doug back there somewhere. He's got like 700. Sorry, Doug. But I don't know if that would offset any to bring it back to year 3 and cap it at year 30. Because I mean, if that's right around the 180-ish, 190. It's hard to check.
I'm sure 5.
Commissioner Austin, do you have any thoughts on longevity?
I think we need the longevity, as far as having a cap. I don't know that, I mean, how many people is that gonna really affect?
Is that a real number?
I'm showing about 5
Okay.
on that's over 30
Okay.
right now.
Thank you. I thought he was just throwing that out there. Protecting longevity seemed to be a consensus, right? Do we want Chad to bring us data back for year 3?
Yes. Well, just so you can have it in your head, if you took it all the way back to year 0, it would be an additional 34,000.
Right.
Split it. So at year
So it's
3.
about
it's
7,000 a
The
year.
way I took that when you said that, Chad, was it's not gonna make much of a difference if you move it from 5 to 3. It's not. gonna
It
make
wouldn't,
much of a difference.
it shouldn't cost any more than $34,000.
Are you guys good with that?
So my understanding is, what some of y'all are saying is longevity is gonna fill the empty spots of EMS and the sheriff department. Pay raises is what
Well,
it's
that
called.
combined, in the combination of the two, if we can get closer to where the surrounding counties are, and then have something to recognize longevity, it gets closer, but the answer is no, it's not gonna fix it this year. But it gets it closer.
It's almost like a short-term play and a long-term play, right? The raises are the short-term play and the longevity is the long-term play.
And I think the long-term play is to get some kind of job classification, pay structure, where people know where they're looking 10 years from now.
Right, and along that line, kind of, even if we maybe just did half now, because you can always raise the longevity. You can't lower it, but you can always raise it, and then get the study done.
Why do we need a longevity higher than Murfreesboro? Murfreesboro just pays $60.
Leave it 100?
I live in Florida.
Leave it 100?
Leave it at 100. I'm good.
Commissioners?
I think 100 is great.
100 in 3 years?
100 in 3 years is fantastic.
3 and 100 sounds good.
3 and 100.
Commissioner Brewington, would you walk the path with
I
us?
just feel like we're just we're trying to do a bunch of stuff all at one time right there. I think we ought to do, baby steps. That's just my personal opinion right there. I think, personally, all 14 commissioners, we need some help. I don't know.
I can't argue with that.
I'm just telling you, the truth.
Well, that being said, we was at $1.57, but yet you still want to, you're thinking that the employees need more. The $1.57 was as close as we could get to being perfect for a little while. We've come down to $1.44. Are you saying that's not enough, not enough?
No, we're in the ballpark.
The only thing else I would like to see is I've received more phone calls this week about a full-time EMA director.
So,
just after the incident with the fire and
community need that is there.
community needs are, I've had more calls.
Well, increasing what we're actually giving the volunteer fire departments, just being able to determine what each department actually needs and it was brought up by the audience here a couple of weeks ago, our fire trucks are 20 years old. We're needing somebody in there that can look at all this stuff and look at the needs of that, or, at some point, we're gonna be sitting here trying to buy 10 fire trucks all at once because everything's wore out.
We need grant money if we don't have somebody in there to.
So I would, well, I don't think that we can, well, yes, one second. You've already mentioned that we shouldn't pass $1.44 tonight, or whatever number it is. I think we have a special call, full court meeting, because if we don't pass something tonight or tomorrow night, then we either we're into August full court to do it, or I can call for a special meeting this month. If we're in agreement on this $1.44 range, if we can get Chad to come back with the full proposal for us to digest and look at, to pass out a budget, maybe one day next week, maybe next Monday, I'll make a call for a special call budget approval meeting at the end of the month if we can get our schedules together. But I hate, I'm with Denny Wayne, I hate to vote on $1.44 without seeing every single line item and everything in it before we do. But I think we're hitting the highlights and hitting.
Yeah, I agree. That was my point. It's not that I wouldn't encourage you not to vote on something, but without having been able to put that together, we know that we're looking at the 4,000 across the board, targeted raises in those certain positions, $100 longevity, $100 full-time, $50 for part-time longevity, starting at 3 years. I think we go back and I guess the EMA is the only other point of contention, and if we can come to a consensus on that, and we know that $1.44 is in the ballpark, we come to consensus on EMA, I think then you give me and Chad marching orders to put that, more Chad than me, by the way, to put that together.
I'm for putting it in and evaluating everything down to the penny.
Here, here.
There's one. Any other commissioners? Say yes. Thank you.
I think after part-time pay, leave the investment in the volunteer fire departments. At 20 hours a week, that position can handle $100,000 worth of outflow into the community.
Yeah, but
What about the equipment? I mean, it's like,
It's gonna be there whether he's full-time or part-time, TK, or she.
okay, that's, I mean, you know,
No, it's not.
that puts it on us to determine whenever we need to buy a new truck.
And the grants
you know,
that
and
we're
you're
gonna
gonna have
get, we have
10
to have a full-time
You're
position.
gonna have
in order
10
to get it.
departments wanting a new truck.
There's a clear line in there that says we have to have a full-time in order to qualify for those grants. It's millions of dollars that we're throwing away if we don't.
So,
They could pay for those new trucks.
so if
Could
the
pay for
full-time,
those.
hold on, if the full-time position, are we hung up on the pay that the full-time position's director pay should not be equivalent to the other director's pay? Is that a hang-up?
I would say that's a very good observation.
Are we hung up on the pay or who they think's gonna be in there?
So,
It's just pay.
so what if the pay is reduced? What if it's a full-time position in a different,
Be a higher position, not a point.
it's,
Needs to be in.
it would be, Denny Wayne, I think,
Well, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a committee that helped you
There was-
last time,
there
right?
was a
Did you have chief of police and sheriff and different vested interests, right?
I can't remember if the sheriff himself said on it, but there was a representative from the sheriff's department.
Okay.
I can't remember, do you remember if he was on that or not?
It hasn't gone anywhere. You're supposed to have 8.
Well, I mean, when we met. to
This
hire
would have
him,
been-
This
this
years
would have
ago.
been a few years
we
ago.
Hired the EMA director. There was a panel of about, I think, 6. Yeah, 911 was on it.
so, if we open for a full-time position at a pay scale that's less than other directors that seem to have more responsibility, and we have a committee, a hiring committee, is that entertainable?
Most definitely.
Yeah, long as interview, you should be appointed.
I agree.
I don't disagree with that either.
I agree.
Is that technically within your purview of ability to hire? Obviously, you can fire that. It's in your purview, but would you entertain a committee?
Yes, oh, definitely. I would, actually, like input from people that are knowledgeable in emergency services and emergency preparedness. I mean, that's what we did last time. We got people that was in the business. But I don't know how you want to define that. At the end of the day, I will have to present a person to you to vote on.
Yeah, the full commission has to approve it anyway.
Yeah, full commission has to.
No matter how we get there, any of the directors.
I'll appoint, you confirm.
Yeah, you gotta have.
But I don't.
I'm just trying to get through some hurdles.
But I would, yes, I would take a committee to help decide who to appoint, yeah.
And based on what I've heard, the position is valuable. And it's sort of along the same lines that we've talked about with some other stuff, where the return on investment's there, regardless of who it is. And we're missing opportunities, which I think affects us as a county.
My only thought on the pay is, the way I would slice it is putting the EMS director higher. I think our EMS director is underpaid
So
to begin with.
At $4,000, in the $4,000 plan, it has the part-time position at $15,000, a full-time position. My lines are running together. It would be, Chad, what's the math on that? I'm sorry. It's got
25,000.
So.
It's additional 25,000 above the
No, so in the $40.44 budget that was presented, it was moving that part-time position to 25,000 as a part-time increase, yeah.
Okay, so when we go back to when we were discussing full-time before, what did we have what was it at? It was 60 something, I remember that. I don't remember.
68.
It was 68.
Same as the EMS.
That's total, correct.
And then
That's everything.
okay, now at the EMS director,
73.2.
is 73.2.
Or 73.3, actually. 299.
73,299. So is the consensus that $5,000 is not enough spread for the, and if not, what would the consensus be, 60,000? I mean, 60, 73 is $13,000 difference, I mean.
It was 68.
So it was at 68, right now, if we use the old scale, it'd be 68 and 73.3.
Yeah.
Because he's on my, couple of hours.
6-4.
I just, for EMS, we had a request for a clerical position and an assistant director, and we pulled both of those. So, I mean, I think most of the responsibility is still going to lie on the director in that department. And that's the reason managing between 28 and 32 employees in the highest call volume in Upper Cumberland, that would just be a contingency, in my opinion.
No, I don't argue that either. So what are you, 75 or 80, or, I mean, what number are you?
Well, I mean, if you pull one down and one up, I'm not, I mean, I guess it depends on how you split it, but.
Yeah.
And I don't have the magic number. I mean, I don't have a number in my head.
75 and 65, I don't know. I mean, is there any consensus on that?
And you're talking about
The difference in the,
between that and the EMA?
And I don't, I really don't like comparing, I mean, I don't think it's fair to compare the two like we're doing right now. I just, when I saw them in the same category, it did cross my mind how many things we've taken away from EMS in their request.
And this is where you get back into, I keep bringing it up, but this is where you.
What are you passionate about, Commissioner Mason?
I'm
Can you tell-
passionate about the paying for the job.
I'm joking, Bill.
Yeah, I know, but this is a perfect example of that. Because this person is called a director, your job responsibilities here may not equal the job responsibilities here, but we're gonna pay them the exact same amount. We don't have a good system in place to deal with that right now. And without that, really all you're doing is what we're doing right here, you're just kind of guessing and throwing around numbers.
we have an
And
animal
Mr.
shelter
Chairman,
director,
I might
too.
be, we might be getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, I don't know that this conversation is necessary if this one item is capable of killing the whole budget.
Exactly.
And I think that should be something we try to figure out first.
The whole, is it, am I wrong? And I think David, I've heard him talk about it with the EMA thing. Is it almost like, safe to say that it's almost like a bureaucratic thing because we don't have an official full-time EMA director and ours is officially classified as a part-time? That's what affects us?
Very much so.
And that's the way I understood it. Because I know, I mean,
A full-time would open up a lot of doors and a lot of opportunities. Plus you have somebody that can actually spend time writing grants to get opportunities. But it also opens up, somebody that can respond countywide, to calls and things like what happened the other day. It gives them opportunities with training from TEMA and FEMA, somebody that can call and actually understand what's going on, what's happening. Guys, we have tornadoes, we have floods, we have issues, we have fires, medical calls. We're getting more populated. These things aren't going to go away. And we have got to find a way to get in there. But I don't believe the state wants to invest all this into us if we don't want to invest in ourselves. And that's where I truly feel like this is where this is needed.
well, we even had that same conversation with, when we were talking about the Parks and Rec director. We had our friends with Waste Management that want to help us down there at the rec complex, but they wanted to make sure that we were committed, if they were going to make an investment in the county, that we were committed to managing it, and they weren't comfortable with us doing that unless we had somebody in that position. It's the exact same thought process, I think.
I'm all about having an open forum to hire somebody, creating a setup and making it an opportunity for anybody to get the job, but I do believe the job needs to be created for this county. And it has been proven that it will pay for itself.
My proposal is to send it, I mean, I've said it before, if we get to full court, and that some people, if they want to make an amendment from the floor and amend it and remove one position or remove that from it, then they have the ability to make a motion and see if it floats from the floor. If that's the only hang-up on the, what would you say, $60 million budget? Or if that's the only hang-up on a $25,000 difference in $25,000 or $30,000 for one position, they can make a motion from the floor to amend it, if that's the hang-up. Or we can still amend it, I mean, if it's, we can still amend it at our next meeting too. I mean, we're looking at, what does it look like, everything together, what does the whole ball of wax look like? Not to say that we still can't make changes at the next meeting.
Well, you know, that's my opinion from the first. Don't hold up the whole budget over this. Let's pass the budget, and then we come back in next month or two, we start addressing whether we need to have a full-time EMA position.
I agree with you.
So that's two different outlooks on it, I guess. Which one do we want to take might be
I mean, if it's going to kill the budget, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Well, you've only got one that's been vocal that said it's going to kill it, and we don't know how. He's still not given an answer on how he's going to vote, even if he would vote for $1.40 or $1.30 or anything.
Are there commissioners here with us tonight that would be more comfortable if the position was left out and we discussed it separately?
Yes. Discuss it separately.
2, 3.
It doesn't kill the budget for me,
Okay,
but
okay.
separate discussions,
Yes.
all for it.
I know you're all not asking for
Okay.
budget comments, but can I ask?
Give us just 1 second, because for the first time in about 4 months, I think we're on to something.
Okay, I think you are too, and that's reason.
So what, we would need a special call budget meeting to look over the items that we're about to give Chad the go-ahead to put together.
Well, could we
Correct.
not just recess this one?
We
and
could, yeah.
Let him I mean, are y'all able to meet
Can
tomorrow
you,
night?
No, I can't.
if we recess,
When
are
are
we
you-
able to
when
come
are
back
you
with
able to
new information?
Maybe Friday night.
I would add too, you might
Go
want
ahead.
to think, we asked the question, is if there's a full-time EMS position in there, would that kill the budget? We may need, EMA, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. We may need to ask the same question the other way. If there is not a EMA director full-time in there, will that kill the budget?
Any thoughts among the committee first?
I'm more against not having it than,
I'm for having a committee for the position. I'm for having a differentiation in pay between EMS and EMA. Like I think there's a lot of give in that for the ones to draw a hard line and say, I mean, we're trying to tick all the boxes that they're requiring. They don't want us to give it just to Matt because they don't like Matt. So, okay, well then we're gonna have a committee, a voting committee. And, well, I don't like it because he's getting paid the same as the director and he don't do any work. Well, then now we're conceding on difference in pay. I mean, I don't know what else I'm for
That's
it.
good, okay.
I mean, we keep giving concession after concession to try to make something work because people are calling me and telling me that position is needed.
And
And the rest of the commission, I mean, I know you guys are only 6 out of the whole group. I'm sorry, put you on the spot. Is there any thoughts that the budget might fail without the position?
I think it's important to the future of the community, the position. I think it's important for the long term.
sounds like everybody wants to end.
I'm not gonna sit here and say I would I'd vote no on the entire budget for it, but I think it's important.
And I'll say,
There's a lot of pieces, you know, there's a lot of pieces in this budget and it's all important. I like the comment that Derek made a minute ago about getting hung up on the difference in part-time and full-time and $25,000 or $30,000. If somebody's got a real heartburn with it, then let them go on record, and make an amendment to pull it out. I'd be in favor of leaving it in there and sending it with it.
But there was a difference in 25 or 30,000, it was more than that.
I think what he means is, as proposed in this, the part-time position at 20 hours would be paid 25,000 versus 15. And the difference in 25,000 and 65,000.
Okay.
So, for 40,000.
I'll voice my opinion on this EMA thing. Am I against EMA full-time? No, I'm not, right there. Does that position need to be in play? Yes, we do need a full-time EMA director. But at this point right now, it's just not needed right now as bad as we need sheriff and EMS, plain and simple.
Well,
Matt does a good job. What he does right there is, he'd be a good full-time EMA director. 100% hands down right there. But right now, we've got other issues that we've been sitting here 45 minutes talking about, an EMA director, when we ought to be worried about some more ambulances and more.
We aren't talking about taking
sheriff's department.
anything away from the sheriff's department.
And I understand it right there is, but
What
if you would
they're
listen
saying,
to the talk, you would understand what I'm trying to say. I mean,
We're talking the same money right here.
and like I said, I'm not trying to knock it down right there. Hey, if y'all voted in right there. Like I said, it's a position that's well deserved. But I'm just saying right now, it's just not there.
I think we run the risk.
Want to table this till tomorrow?
Are you available?
I am not, but
Tomorrow?
but I don't.
So, if we back at, I mean, we have to have the window for posting in the newspaper and so forth. I'm gonna suggest that we have a special call for court meeting sometime the last week of this month.
I will not be here from the 26th on. Actually, the 25th on, excuse me.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not.
So if we back up and do the,
I'm in Wisconsin.
So we have-
I was supposed to work tonight, I'm losing.
If you have another budget meeting between now and the 21st,
we have to do it tomorrow, either tonight or tomorrow night for it to have time to publish in the paper.
time frame.
Yes.
Yes.
The paper only does
So-
big cuts.
So we have full court is the 21st. So every day past the 21st will give us an extra day this week. And Commissioner Cranford is out from the Friday the 25th on.
Yep.
I'm gone the 20th through the 25th.
You're gone the 20th to the 25th.
When is Commissioner Cranford coming back?
In August. August the 4th.
Be safe, guys.
Thank y'all.
I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and if it hair lips somebody, it does. I'm sorry. Listen. Saturday, just for instance, down at the Freedom Celebration, you had 2 on duty, 2 standing by, some up at the building at EMS. We had an 18-month-old unresponsive baby. We had a 7-year-old that fell and got hurt. You had a woman that she passed out from the heat. The little 7-year-old, he wound up going by ambulance. So did the woman. I'm not sure about the 18-month-old baby because in the middle of all that, the 7-year-old was part of a single mother of 4. She had nobody with her, no, she had nobody, no support system, no nothing. I wound up taking care of the 5-year-old till she could go fetch her girls. She came back. She needed to ride to the hospital with the 7-year-old in order to keep him calm. I wound up taking her vehicle to the ER, going to Walmart, getting her dry clothes, going back. In all that time, if something else had happened in this county, it had been a while before somebody got to you. Same thing happened today. I think most of us know about all that. Same thing that happened last week, 35 minutes past, no ambulance. They had to be taken by private. So, as I was asked today, everybody needed to start checking their egos at the door, getting in here, and getting a budget passed. Whether you like somebody, whether you don't like somebody, it doesn't matter. You can't have happy people because you didn't raise their taxes and also have their safety at the same time. You gotta choose. And for me, right now, I'm choosing the safety. I'm choosing the EMS. I'm choosing the Sheriff's Department. If we need to do $1.57, we do $1.57. If we need to do $1.44, then let's do $1.44. Let's quit squibbling and squabbling over egos and pennies and all this.
Kids. Like that.
Now, I understand, David, you're gonna be out of town, and I understand you can't be here tomorrow night, and I don't know if you guys can pass it amongst yourselves, or if it takes all 5 of you. I don't know.
It's not passed out of
Well,
committee, it's passed.
I'm gonna
out
make a
of
motion to send 145 to full court, and that includes EMA director and the actual 4,000 straight up, the way we were talking about it.
We have a motion on the floor
I'll second it.
and a second. Discussion.
Mr. Markham, do you think the $1.45 will cover what you've laid out there? Really, the only difference is that full-time,
3 years,
part-time.
3 years to 5 years.
3 years and the EMA to full-time.
Yeah, those are the changes, I mean. Yeah,
My bad.
I would think we could make it work. It may add a little bit to what we were projecting as far as a budgeted deficit or something like that, but.
Because there was some there already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but by then, we could have money coming in from waste management.
So, but, you know, I'll run the numbers and see where we come up at.
Thoughts from the 3 of us now. We got a motion and a second on the floor.
Well, I mean, Chad says he can make it happen. I trust him.
We split it every 6 ways from Sunday. I mean, I was like Danny Wayne, I would kind of like to see the full package, but we see that $1.57, it's not.
There's no reason we can't do this both and have a meeting to look over. I mean, we're gonna get to review it.
And we can look at it beforehand, and if there's something, we can actually make a motion to amend it at the full court.
It'd be a motion from the floor of full court to make an amendment to it if this is the route we're taking.
Go ahead.
The difference in this and the one that was sent to full court before, the differences are called out here with the salaries and those things, correct? I mean, that's the biggest difference, right?
Basically, everything, the only difference in it is salaries,
Yeah, it's that salary scale.
pay.
And there's a couple well-positioned.
Right, and there was some,
Yeah.
right, that's right, there were some positions that.
Yeah, they were
that are
cut.
in this.
like two patrol deputies.
2 deputies.
And assistant
yeah,
EMS
EMS,
director.
or EMS and the
But
county
we're aware of
executive.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other discussion here? You guys okay with not, are you okay with reviewing what Chad sends out and amendments can be made? Any discussion among the commission?
Send it.
All right, we'll call a vote. Commissioner Hutchings,
Yes.
Commissioner Cranford,
Yes.
Commissioner Austin,
Yes.
Executive Robinson, and Kyle Goff will be a yes. Mr. Markham. We get a round of applause or anything? Nothing? I would say it's a relief just to get it out of this committee. So, Mr. Markham, we have given you the time to get this published for a full court meeting, correct? July
Do we want to
21st.
do another meeting, just to review it, us?
Would you guys be open to,
Can we do it earlier in the day? Something, maybe for full court?
Yeah, but doing it tonight does allow us to get it in the paper on Friday, so that is checked off. And then as far as how you guys, if you guys meet again, or how you want to do that to review it.
I'm just asking, can we do the, like at 5 o'clock on the 21st, like we did the other before all the commissioners can have time to look at it?
we'll have a public,
Well, we'll have a public hearing at 5 o'clock, or
Well, we
5:30
still-
on the 21st anyways.
We had, after we passed it, after we passed $1.57, we still had a meeting the next Monday with commissioners for other questions about it. So we would still have that time for us to get
it next Monday.
Yeah, we could meet next Monday for us to review and have any other discussions.
so we're looking at the Monday, July 14th. 5:30 works good for you guys, right? Can you do that?
Yes.
Is that okay with you? Mr. Markham, is that okay?
Monday the 14th.
What time?
5:30.
Looks like it.
All right, so we'll use that time, we'll invite all the commissioners, and we'll answer any questions and kind of look over it together. Is that okay with you guys? All right. There's no way there's any old business, right? Any new business? All right, Miss Ellis, is she still here? Why don't you come up first? We're gonna open up for public comment. I turned you down earlier, so we'll start with you. Please state your name, and we'll have 3 minutes for you to address the commission.
Okay, Dana Ellis. Of course, I've been here before, y'all know. You're talking about your money for the EM director, and I brought this up last time about this Parks and Rec director. Now, I don't have a copy of the new budget, so I can't say what the adjustments are. Looking at the old one, you had a director for $52,000 there. You talk about a grant being there. You talk about, I think I understood that in order to change the Park and Rec deal, you had to do a resolution to change it. Why do you think we need a $52,500 director of Parks and Rec, but we don't need an EM director? I mean, you know, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why can't you take that money, take a resolution, lower that Park and Rec deal, $52,000, and take your $52,000 and help offset the EM director? That almost will even out. And there's your money that you're talking about. That you need.
Well, there's another solution that we've not talked about either, that's not a requirement of the county and not to be a sore subject, but the animal shelter is $150,000 a year. It's not required either, that we could pull funds from that to do as well.
I'm not saying that you can't, okay? I mean, I'm not, but why would you need a park? and rec director. Why do you need one?
Because we've got 600 children that play ball at the ball fields, and if we don't,
And that's more important than an EM director?
well, then we're gonna have to hire 100 more sheriff's deputies when the kids are out here on drugs running around and anywhere to play or go or do anything.
I understand, but you said we're not gonna please everybody.
No, we're not.
We're not gonna please everybody. Exactly right. And I understand that there's a lot of.
Our children in parks are our responsibility too.
And I
in my opinion.
understand that you have an obligation there, and I agree with you. I just think in deciding what your obligations are, you've got to decide what's more important. You know, it's pretty that simple. I'm not saying the kids are not important, but I'm not sure we need a $52,000 Parks and Rec director. Maybe we need a part-time one. We'll put them for $25,000 and lower the EM. You know, and take the money and use it for the director over here.
A part-time director doesn't qualify for the grant.
I'm talking about Parks and Rec.
I am too.
Do they have grants?
Yes, they have plenty of grants. Yes, ma'am.
We've applied for a 3-year grant. They'll offset the cost of that for 3 years.
I know, and that's what concerns me. You're talking 3 years, a grant helps offset it, but at the end of 3 years, you keep talking about living in the future, you're gonna have to face the cost of that Parks and Rec director.
Well, in 3 years, we'll have some solid waste money that we can use, that we can allot.
You can have that next year too, to help offset this right here, you know. That's what I'm saying. You're talking about what you've got to do.
But the grant for Parks and Rec is now, and it may not be here next year.
Well, it may not be, but there is one solution to try to gather some money
Well,
to cut that down.
we'll worry about that if this don't pass next meeting.
And your other thing, and I know I'm using my 3 minutes, the other thing is this longevity pay. I know you guys think that's the greatest thing in the world, and it is nice. I encourage you to cut that cost back, and I encourage you to cap this, or it will absolutely eat us alive down the road.
I hope we have 100 employees that've been here for 20 years.
Well, I hope we do too. I won't be here, but I hope we do, you know. But I just not sure that's the answer. We cannot compete against Putnam County. There's no way we can.
And
we're nowhere near competing with them.
And
We are way under where they're at.
That's fine.
Thank you.
$1.57 wasn't even competing with them.
Anybody else like to address the budget committee? It is, yeah, it's all yours. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you.
Joanne Green, and I think that longevity pay, you should get rid of it altogether. That it's a waste. It's going to be eating us alive further down the road. And aren't you supposed to be cutting the budget instead of raising it? I mean, all of a sudden now we're all the way up to $1.45. Now, there's people in this county who cannot afford that, especially after the fraudulent raising of our properties. You're raising our properties without, unbelievable. It's just, and now you're gonna charge us $1.45 over that. Now, I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income. And this $1.45, in addition to that stupid raising of the property, it's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me, and it's gonna kill a lot of people who's retired. And they are really pissed. And I just don't understand it. And the one thing that's a common denominator in these meetings is that you're not listening to your constituents. You really aren't. You're just up there arguing over salaries and this $4,000 over $8. Why don't you cut that down? Why does everybody have to get so much damn money? You act like you're in Nashville. This is a small town. We moved here because it was a small town and it was nice. And lately, I'm telling you, there's too much greed going on. You need to be cutting the budget. not adding to it. And I'm sorry. This might hurt a lot of people's feelings, but you people sitting behind these desks and everything, you have no common sense. You need people next time when they get elected to have a little common sense.
You can apply for your papers in December if you would like to run.
I will, because I don't see any women qualified. None. These people over here, they need to be taken care of. You need to be cutting crap. And what's this water splash thing?
That's the city as far as, not us.
Thing in the world to do with us.
You don't have anything to do with it.
No, it's like we didn't have anything to do with that sign you complained about last time either.
Or the dump truck.
Or the dump truck.
Well, that's a relief because that's not what I was told. And I'd rather find out. But you need to take care of people who take care of us.
That's what we're doing, man.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
Not doing this longevity
Okay,
stuff.
do you think we need to do $1.57?
All right, ma'am, we've hit the 3-minute mark.
But it needs to be $1.21.
Thank you.
Move back to where you come from.
That's up around, everybody have a
Thank you.
My name is Jenry Delaney. I was involved in the house fire. I was one of the parties that got injured. I'm speaking for everybody in this community, especially those people right there, because they can't speak for themselves right now. But luckily, by God's dear grace, I'm here to talk to you. And this is my other half. We lost everything we had. Everything I worked for my entire life is gone in a matter of minutes.
The EMTs.
EMA and fire was not the first ones on the scene. The city police and the county was the first ones, followed by the state trooper.
I watched.
I was standing in the middle of the
carry
street barefooted with
those 3 children in their arms. The 3 city officers carried their children in their arms to the police cars to get them to the hospital, especially this little girl here, the little girl. I seen it, smoke was coming off of her.
It
I
could
see
be any of y'all.
We had no
Any of your kids,
ambulances.
any of your grandkids.
4 calls
and
come
on
in
and on.
besides ours. 3 calls
And
besides
it'd be
ours.
bad when it is.
We had no ambulances. 21 calls that day. Where's the ambulances?
Right.
That child shouldn't have
What
gone
if
to
it
the
was
police
you
car.
that
Thank
was on
God
fire?
we had police that could get that child to the doctor. My fiance laid in the yard, feet burnt. He couldn't get an ambulance. And y'all are griping about, people's griping about, no. These people here, they need the money. They need supplies. They took an oath to
It's
serve
not
and
a want,
protect
it's a
us. It's a
For
need.
each and every one of y'all and everybody else in this community.
Parks directors, library, whatever, it's a want. These people are a need. What if that was one of y'all's children? I'm stuck with seeing this. These were my neighbors.
I seen a man's leg melting off his bone back there.
And y'all are acting like you're acting.
What do you see that and a child laying there
And Mike
beside
Kerr, I'm not taking, but I want to tell you, Mike Kerr was the first one at the hospital. I seen it with my own eyes. He's on the phone because we had no ambulances. Trying to get Cookville to get an ambulance over here to take her to Vanderbilt because we had no ambulances. Helicopter wouldn't fly out because of storms. So we had to depend on another county to come and get this child, to take her to Cookville, to Nashville. And y'all are acting. Why? I don't understand it. Something that's a need. We need police, we need ambulance, we need rescue, we need fire. And y'all are chomping at the bit for everything else? They should be top of the line.
45 minutes.
Top of the line.
This should be right at the top of y'all.
We don't worry about EMA. Mike done his job. Mike done what he's supposed to. Right now, we don't need it. We need ambulances. We need cops.
Bad, real bad.
We need rescue. And I can't believe y'all are sitting there acting the way you're doing with this child. This child, this baby. I took care of this baby. The 2 others, the 2 little boys, Lewis and Drew. You couldn't ask for better children. The parents, they're young parents.
They were sweet people.
The dad, we don't know about the dad right now. The poor mama, she's running 4 different directions trying to take care of something that shouldn't have happened to begin with, but it did. But then her knowing, and I am able to speak for her, she said I could. But for her to know that she had no ambulance up here to take care of her child, her children, because they had to ride in police cars, which that's not. Thank God they had the cops were there to take them, because we didn't have an ambulance, because y'all want to play around with money. It's ridiculous.
This has got to end somewhere, guys. It's got to.
It's went too long. That shouldn't have happened with us that
Trump
day.
talks about draining the swamp.
Something needs to be drained.
It needs to be done around here.
Father, don't know if she's going to have a dad. Don't know if she's going to have a husband right now. Because we didn't, where's the stuff at? Where? Why wasn't money allocated for their stuff they need? No answers.
Would you like an answer?
I would love an answer, because I don't believe the answer is going to be what I want to hear.
We tried to pass $1.57, which was a 15% pay raise for those guys.
Yes.
Now we're sitting at 8% because there was 200 people as aggravated as you are right now sitting there because we were raising their taxes too much. You heard that lady right there. She's been here the last 2 meetings raising Cain because she can't afford taxes.
I
see that.
We're in a no-win situation,
People should
ma'am.
be taken care of first.
Okay,
But
then
there's so much
95.
garbage.
Address us.
We're past the 3-minute mark. We're past the 3-minute mark.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just so you know, after the last meeting, we huddled and we prayed for this family.
And please continue to do that.
Thank you.
And
We
my
will.
fiance, because
Yeah, we will.
we have,
At least I didn't wind up that shape, but I could have very easily.
Well, thanks for what you did too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
just keep them in prayer, because they all need.
we will. All right. Come on up.
Bob Taylor, Brookmead Drive. I just wanted to say, I came up here before and said we do not need an EMA director. I think it's vital that we have one. After speaking with a bunch of people about this, a lot of people are talking about this outside of here. It's something we have to have, because as you have said, we've lost $150,000 in grants, not having one. As Commissioner says, we're continually losing money by not having a full-time person. You've got to look at the future right now. Our future is getting this fire department and everything back in order down the line. We're going to have to be buying a fire truck a year. A lot of changes going to have to be made. So we need that full-time person in place to make sure all this stuff starts happening and start thinking about the future. But in having that person, I think an important part of his job, anyway, would be your decision, probably would be, he needs to overlook the fire departments also, make sure the safety things are checked on the trucks, the proper training is done for all those guys, and that keeping an eye on the equipment will save you a lot more money in the long run. Just like all these firemen came to you and said, they need new pumps. They gotta go through all pumps on the existing trucks.
First hurdle is get a full-time director back.
Yeah,
we can address
have
that.
to do a full-time. But part of his job also needs to be overseeing the fire departments, I believe. But I just want to say one thing on the longevity bonus. As I told you before, I've negotiated things, and I see at the end of the year, you get, let's say you've been here 10 years, you get a $1,000 check. By the time they take taxes out of it, you get maybe an $800 check. It's not a lot of money in your pocket. It's a nice little Christmas bonus, there ain't no doubt about it. But more money in people's pockets weekly. Do away with, I know you're really hard set, it's like you're gonna do the longevity no matter what. But could you at least discuss getting rid of longevity and getting a little bit more pay weekly? It will help people a lot more in the long run, I believe. Going from 5 years to 3 years, it's gonna cost you a lot more money. I know Mr. Markham said it's $34,000 a year, I think it's gonna cost you a lot more than that down the line. I don't know of any organization that starts paying longevity at 3 years. Most all of them are 5 years minimum, simply in this state. You don't think so?
No, sir, I work
Murfreesboro
at
pays
Tennessee
from year
Tech
one.
and we do
From year
3.
one?
Yeah,
I work
Columbia
at
pays from
Tennessee
year
Tech and we do 3.
3. And my wife retired from Tech and she didn't get it that long, but, because they just started at Tech not long ago, but anyhow, I just wanted to say I think the full-time guys are a really important thing you need to discuss and get in line, because as BK said, we got a lot of fire stuff coming in the future, and that guy could be a real point person in getting that stuff going. This budget is nothing compared to what you got the next 3 years. You're gonna have to start thinking about upgrading fire. It's gonna cost a whole lot more money than we're talking right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And thank you for all the work you do. It is appreciated. A lot of guys are yelling at you about a lot of crazy stuff. Thank you very much. You did a great job.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
I'll try to make it quick.
come on, we'll take one more.
All right. So, I'm not originally from around here, but do you guys have
Could you,
like, a
could you give your name?
Oh, sorry.
There, okay.
Beth Luzon.
Thank you.
Okay. So, where I came from, they have volunteer fire. Do you guys have volunteer firemen?
We do.
That's all we have.
That's all we are. That's all we are, volunteer.
There's no county
Because-
fire.
Huh?
There's no county fire.
No county fire, okay. So, now there's full-time and part-time then, or how does that work?
They don't get paid.
They're all volunteers?
They're all volunteers.
Okay. Now, do you guys show up, actually, I don't know you guys.
You're okay.
Do they all show up, at like everything, or just fire?
Whatever.
Because that's my main concern, like, throwing money at it was not gonna solve the problem. It takes forever to get anywhere in this county. Like, with all the roads the way they are, and especially for me, it takes me even longer because I have to use GPS, and if there's no signal, then that's an issue. So, I mean, to solve the need of everything, with all these trucks and everything and staff that you want for it, I don't see that still becoming a problem. I mean, it's still a problem. It just seems like that we need more volunteers possibly, that on more of a short-term basis where they have the training. 'Cause like, our department, we had by like different townships or whatever, and there were some fire guys for each township, and then it worked out of. And they only made maybe like $10 an hour, but they, you know, they had other things that they did, and it was just because they love people and they want to help. So, I mean, maybe that could be an option, because there's, you know, there's more, if more people would volunteer towards something like that, then you'd have more personnel available. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how much they make or anything, but, I mean, our guys only made maybe like $10 an hour, but they had the training and equipment provided for them. And they were like, when my mother-in-law ended up passing out, they were there before the ambulance was, just to make sure that the vitals were good. And it still took time for the ambulance to get there. It's just you're not always gonna have it, and stuff's gonna happen all at the same time. No matter what you try and plan for, you know, it might never be enough. And then, the EMA director, obviously, I mean, isn't there a way, I'm sure there's somebody that's already doing sort of that job? Can that person like be promoted and then like a part-time person? Because whoever you have as the EMA director, I'm sorry, they need to be in the trucks. They need to have a portion of their time with their people. They need to know the needs. We don't need another pencil pusher at $70,000 a year. And honestly, there's just got to be some sort of compromise not to sock it to some of these people that, you know, can't afford it. I mean, watching the taxes go up compared to where I came from, granted, it's a different place, but they had a crap ton, and it's like our taxes are rivaling what theirs are. So that was my 2 cents.
Thank you. All right, we're going to wrap up public comment at this time.
One more? I just got a couple questions. I don't have anything smart to say.
We got a county employee, come on up.
First of all, thank you guys.
This is Jake Simmons.
Jake Simmons with Sheriff's Office, County Homeowner. My question is, what At $1.20, was it 27, kept everything the same?
$1.21.
21, okay. What does the average homeowner at $1.45, what are they looking at? It's
20%.
We keep saying,
About a 21% increase.
20% increase.
I didn't know. So I
That-
hear pennies and I'm a layman, I'm not good at math, that's why I'm a cop. Figured I would ask.
If you paid $1,000 last year, you'd roughly pay $1,200
Okay,
next
so
year.
you're talking about $200 over the,
If it averaged 1,000 in taxes.
I mean.
And 1,000 in
It-
taxes
it's
was
high.
about $250,000 to $300,000.
I just want to point out that, I don't know if y'all, I'm sure y'all all paid attention. The majority of the people that were complaining about their taxes going up are people who just moved here. Like, we got to do right by our people, and I'm one of those, so I don't mean to come off like I'm begging for a raise, but we got to take care of it. I was just curious as to what the pay difference over a year. So the average person's going to see $200 a year.
Ish.
So what would that go up by a penny or 2 pennies if we raise the raise from 8% to 10?
Each
Oh, 2
percentage,
pennies.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's 2 pennies, but what does that equal?
How much does it cost the average person?
Because that's what I don't think a lot of people are.
On a $300,000 house, each penny that you went up in property tax value would be $12.
So we're really splitting it over $12. Now, it was pretty much pointed out a couple of meetings ago. We were a victim of our choices because we chose to be at this field at this county. It's also, the people who are complaining about the taxes, they're also a victim of their own decisions. If they can't budget, and they didn't budget for their retirement, I get it, it sucks. But if I'm a victim of my choices for working here, they're a victim of their choices for living here. So.
well, just, if I interject real quick, just because I know you on a personal level,
Yes.
you took a huge pay cut to come work for the sheriff's
I
department.
did, and I'm being
And
coached constantly.
there's not many like you.
I want all of you to understand that there are people hinging at this department, both at EMS and the sheriff's office, that if something isn't done, they're not gonna be here much longer. We're talking about longevity. We're not having problems retaining 5-year employees. We're having issues with retainment on the people starting and staying. I mean, the 5 years will help me because I've been here, but that's not the people we're losing. You know what I mean? And just something to think about, guys. That's all I got.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Jay. I'm sorry, I stand corrected, I did the math. On a $300,000 home, each increase in the penny value, or penny tax rate is $7.50 for a year. On a $300,000 home.
I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.
Question, we got it again, this.
Yeah, you should.